All right, today we're going to decode a market that is, well, it's basically balanced on a knife's edge. You've got billions of dollars pushing it in one direction, while a hidden danger is threatening to pull the plug at any moment. So let's break down this really fragile situation.
Okay, so this is the dashboard we're going to be breaking down today. Now, I know it might just look like a wall of data, but trust me, it's telling a really fascinating story about a massive tug of war that's happening right under the surface.
So, the real key to this whole puzzle is right here. The market status is labeled conflicted. And what we're going to do over the next few minutes is figure out what that word really means and why it's so critical for what could happen next.
You know, to really get a grip on this, let's use a pretty simple analogy. Just imagine the market is a bathtub. It's simple. The water level inside is the price. And really, what controls that water level? It's pretty simple, right? You've got the taps filling it up, and you've got the drain pulling water out.
Okay, so let's dig into the forces filling our tub versus the ones trying to drain it, and we'll use the exact numbers from our dashboard. First, let's take a look at the taps, the pressures that are pushing the price higher.
So first up, we've got a big one. It's what traders call Vanna flow. We'll get into exactly what that is in a second, but for now, just look at this number. It's pumping over $1.1 billion of pure buying pressure into the market. That's a massive tap pushing prices up. And believe it or not, it doesn't even stop there. There's a second, even stronger tap called net flow, pouring in another $1.25 billion. This is basically from major dealers having to adjust their positions. So you add those two together, you've basically got two fire hoses just blasting water into this tub.
Okay, so with all that water rushing in, what's trying to drain the tub? Well, we have one main drain known as net gamma exposure, or JEX. Right now, it's only pulling about $125 million of pressure out. And I really want you to notice the size difference here.
So this is really the crucial takeaway right now. You've got something like $2.4 billion of buying pressure from the taps, and it's up against a tiny $125 million drain? It's not even a fair fight, right? The taps are winning, hands down. And that's exactly why the water level, the price, is staying put or even rising. But this brings up a really critical question, doesn't it? Something has to be controlling that massive $1 billion Vanna tap. There's got to be a control valve somewhere, and figuring out what it is, well, that's the key to this whole setup. Okay, but before we find that valve, let's just quickly demystify what Vanna even is. The easiest way to think about it is like this. You've got these big dealers, right? They sell options. And to manage their risk from those options, they have to either buy or sell the actual stock. Now, how much they have to buy or sell depends entirely on how much the market is bouncing around. Its volatility. Vanna is just the technical name for that effect. And here it is. This is our control valve, falling IV, or falling implied volatility. All this means is that the market is calming down. It's getting less chaotic. And when that happens, when things get calmer, those dealers we were just talking about, they are literally forced to buy stock to balance their books. That forced buying, that is the Vanna flow. So get this, a calmer market is the very thing cranking that $1.1 billion tap wide open. Okay, so let's step back for a second. We've got huge taps pushing the price up, and a calm market is what's keeping them on. Everything sounds pretty great, right? Well, this is exactly where that word conflicted comes into play, because there's a really big danger lurking just below the surface of the water. See, so far, we've only talked about that tiny $125 million drain. But what if I told you there's another, way more dangerous drain in this bathtub? One that's plugged for now, but we are getting dangerously close to pulling that plug. This number, this is the whole reason we're even talking about a conflicted market. It seems so small, almost insignificant, but it represents exactly how close we are to, well, pulling the plug on the entire tub. That tiny percentage, that's the distance between the current price, the water level, and a supercritical price point at the $500 mark. And this isn't just a normal drain, it's more like a drain wall. If the price just dips a tiny bit more and touches that $500 level, the exact same dealers who were forced to buy when things were calm will suddenly be forced to start selling. And not just selling, aggressively selling. It's like a switch that could flip this whole market from stable and calm to completely chaotic in an instant.
And boom. Now it all makes sense. That conflicted status comes from this perfect and perfectly dangerous tension. On one hand, you have over $2 billion of buying pressure pushing everything up, all supported by a calm market. But on the other hand, at the very same time, the price is teetering less than 1% away from a trapdoor that could basically trigger a flash crash.
All right, let's wrap this up with our bathtub analogy one last time. So, what do we got? Two massive taps, Vanna and NetFlow, pumping the price up. What's the valve keeping that huge Vanna tap on? It's falling volatility, a calm market. The tiny little drain at the bottom, our negative jacks? Yeah, it can't even compete. But, and this is the whole story right here, the water level is just inches away from that massive $500 drain wall. One little slip, one wrong move, and the whole floor could just give way. That is what a conflicted market looks like.
And so, this all leaves us with one final and really crucial question. You've got the bullish taps on full blast, pouring billions of dollars in, but that terrifying drain wall is just a tiny dip away. So, what gives first? Do the taps keep pushing the price safely away from danger? Or does one small slip finally pull the plug on this whole fragile balance? Honestly, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it?